Hey guys, so the spoilers for chapter 239 have been leaked, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I suggest you click away from this video. However, if you are up to date with the story and don't really care for spoilers, stick around and watch this video. Your tribal chief will acknowledge you. The chapter title is revealed to be titled as Baka, Survivor. And by the end of the chapter, we see the reveal of Takaba. So is that the idiot that the chapter title is referencing? Many fans were in the hope that it's Gojo who the title was referencing, as we have seen throughout the story that a lot of the characters refer Gojo as an idiot or an idiot sensei by characters like Maki, Nobara and so forth. But it doesn't look like it's going to be Gojo who will be returning. Instead, it will be Takaba. I'm sure a lot of you Gojo fans are really excited by this reveal. There's a girl charging at Kenjaku saying to him, "Isn't it cruel to give them life once again by turning them into cursed objects? But now you're taking away their lives again." She then gets trapped by a jellyfish type curse as she hears Kenjaku saying, "If it's too tasteless, I'll add more flavor. If it's too strong, I'll add more of the original. You people are like seasoning and water to me. I don't have any particular feelings towards you." We already knew that Kenjaku is cold as a villain, and I'm happy that Akutami is keeping him evil. In my opinion, I stand by that Kenjaku is the main villain of the series. As strong as Sukuna is, Kenjaku has always been scheming from the beginning. Sukuna, I feel, is just too popular of a character to be the main villain. Now with Akutami trying to humanize him more, I feel the story is gearing towards Sukuna becoming more like an anti-hero rather than a main villain. That's what I feel Akutami is doing, and now that Gojo is killed off from the story, Akutami needs another big babyface character along with Yuji to fill the void that Gojo has left behind. So instead of turning Sukuna into a good guy, I feel Akutami will slowly plant the seeds of Sukuna being an anti-hero, whilst Kenjaku will be the full-fledged final boss of the story. I could be wrong, but let's see what happens. Actually think about it, guys. How can you have two main boss villains in a story? There can be only one true final enemy, in my opinion. And I feel Kenjaku is more hated by the fans than Sukuna is. Wait, let me quickly rephrase that. Sukuna is obviously not popular with the Gojo fanbase because how dedicated that fanbase is to that character. And because Sukuna was the one to kill their favorite character, a lot of them may have that hatred for Sukuna because of that. But the fans that are not hardcore Gojo fans can appreciate how cool of a villain Sukuna is, and amongst them, Sukuna is a popular character. A character that is so cool it's almost impossible to hate. However, with Kenjaku, I feel as though he's not as popular as Sukuna, and I feel he's hated more as a villain amongst the fanbase than how Sukuna is hated as a villain, which is why for me it has to be Kenjaku as the final boss, while Sukuna is the emotional final boss for Yuji to overcome. The girl tries to fight back, but Kenjaku seals her head and says, "Even though I don't have feelings towards you people, I sometimes feel like you guys are too good to be wasted." Kenjaku reveals that he applied cursed objects on reincarnated ones and a cursed symbol on awakened sorcerer, so it's easy for him to track them down. And then another character arrives on the scene and asks Kenjaku why is he still talking when she's already dead. Kenjaku basically has CCTV footage of everyone in Shinjuku, as he basically can now track anyone with cursed energy. Hazenoki appears and confronts Kenjaku. Kenjaku mentions those who do not bore him and those who are on his level in terms of power are worthy to be his friends. Now obviously Sukuna and Kenjaku knew each other from back in the day, but does that mean they were friends? We see in this story how Akutami loves turning friends against each other, or having a friend turn heel against the other friend. Gojo and Geto were best friends until Geto became consumed by rage and hatred and turned his back on Gojo, and they became enemies ever since, with Gojo even killing him back in Jujutsu Kaisen 0. We see now with Megumi and Yuji. Now obviously it's not completely Megumi's fault that he is evil now, and it's not him that is evil, it's Sukuna who has now fully taken over Megumi's body. But it still stands that Yuji will have to fight off Sukuna inside of Megumi's body, so in that way Yuji is now fighting off against his best friend and may have to kill him in order to fully defeat Sukuna. Gojo also mentioned to Megumi that the head of the Gojo clan with the 6 eyes along with Infinity had a death battle against the head of the Zenin family with the 10 Shadows technique. History then repeated itself with Gojo and Sukuna, with Sukuna taking over Megumi, who is the promised head of the Zenin family, along with him having the 10 Shadows technique. Akutami always does this. He loves having history repeat itself in his own story, so if we go with that logic and what Kenjaku said, that only someone that's on his power level can be his friend, then him and Sukuna were surely friends back in the day. but maybe there was a betrayal amongst the two. I'm assuming one of them turned on the other at some point, and we might have that repeat again later on in the story. Like I said earlier, we can't have two main villains in the story. It appears as well that Kenjaku was watching the Gojo vs Sukuna fight and says that Sukuna expanded his curse technique target to take down Gojo. Kenjaku explains that he has left his curses at Shinjuku to monitor. He says he will know if anyone left Shinjuku based on the total amount of cursed energy, as he knows the amount of cursed energy each sorcerer has, especially Yuta, who is number 2 in strength. Kenjaku has everything on lock right now. He's like Big Brother watching everyone. Hazunoki tries to fight him, but Kenjaku's curse rounds him up. When asked what his true objective is, Kenjaku says he's going to end the Culling Games by eliminating all players, with that sacrifice being a binding vow. He will then activate the merging process of Tengen with all the people in Japan. This sounds really messed up. It sounds like some sort of blood magic ritual or something really satanic, because the amount of people he is willing to sacrifice. If this were to happen, then we will probably see the biggest and the strongest cursed spirit alive for the endgame of the story. Takaba then arrives after Hazunoki dies and immediately attacks Kenjaku, with Kenjaku wondering why did he come alone as there's no one monitoring Meimei. But Kenjaku mentioned he has no interest in awakened players except Higuruma, which means he has something planned for Higuruma. Takaba survives Kenjaku's attack as Kenjaku himself is in disbelief. As the last page of the chapter, Takaba says, there's a lot of things to get excited for in the world, but the number one thing to get excited about is when an entertainer only there to match numbers takes the whole show, with Kenjaku replying, "You're right." Utami really swerved us in this chapter. I expected to see Yuji's technique. Instead, we have Takaba vs Kenjaku ending the chapter. Let me know what you guys think of the spoilers and what you think Kenjaku is up to. And do you guys agree with me that Kenjaku is the final boss of the story? Comment below and let me know. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the Shaman Tribe.